change the future of travel medicine and infectious disease and tropical medicine, because we now have to add this list to something that could come in and rip through a cruise ship.
Well, a rare disease that very few people have even heard of is now gaining national attention after a fatal outbreak aboard a cruise ship. Hantavirus is typically caused by infected rodents, but now health officials believe it's what killed 3 people on the ship. Joining me now to explain more about the disease and what we should be prepared for and know about is Dr. Eric Hill, an ER physician from HCA HealthONE Aurora. First off, Dr. Hill, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
This is a really obscure disease that we're talking about today. Let's start right there. Can you explain what it is?
So it's a virus, just like any other virus. It's typically spread by rodents. In Colorado, we have about 3 to 5 cases a year total in the whole state. So it's not something that's really on the day-to-day minds of average Americans.
Right. Not until now, of course, with this outbreak on a cruise ship. And of course, this is getting a lot of national attention. So what are some of the symptoms and how contagious is this?
So, in generally speaking, it looks like almost like a flu initially. You get some cough, body aches, fevers. Most of these cases that we see in the United States are typically, if they do progress, they'll progress into a pulmonary syndrome maybe a week or 2 later, and that's where you start getting the difficulty breathing. Those particular cases have about a 40% mortality though when they get into the lungs, and so it's a supportive care treatment we have to do with them. It's not particularly contagious because typically this is spread by rodents and rat droppings. There's very, very rare cases of human-to-human transmission of this, mostly with a kind of an Asian variant of the virus. So human-to-human transmission is very rare, but it's mostly spread by rodents.
When you talk about the spread of it through those infected rodents, are we talking about people just being in the area with those rodents, or do they have to physically come in contact with them?
Commonly what it is actually, it's like the rodent droppings, like the poop they leave behind, and people clean it up, right? You sweep it up and all that particles get lifted up into the air, and then you're inhaling them. So it's commonly an inhalational mechanism that you're getting it through either like saliva or the particles on the dried rat droppings that you're breathing in the air in a dusty environment.
Wow, really unique situation there. Okay, we talked about that supportive care. So is this typically deadly, or are there late intervention methods?
I mean, there's no treatments that we have as far as like a cure for it. Basically, we try to support the person to get through that thing. And it's really IV hydration, fluids, oxygen. They might need mechanical ventilation. But as I said, the respiratory component of this, if it gets into that pulmonary hantavirus, it does carry about a 35 to 40% mortality rate, despite what we do. So we try to help people through it, but a lot of them will end up passing from it.
You mentioned that this is really rare here in our state. Is this something you've seen personally before?
I have never seen this. I mean, we had 2 deaths, I think, like 2 years ago in Colorado from this. But if there's only 5 cases a year in Colorado in total, this is something that, if you see it in the ER, it's a very rare thing to see.
And then last question for you, any tips for folks to avoid this and stay safe just because of how rare it is?
I think the main thing is, if you are going to be, as I said, how you get it is typically from those rodents and stuff. So keeping rodents out of your house, making sure you have good kind of pest control and those things. And if you do start seeing rat droppings or mouse droppings, deer mouse droppings in your house, if you are going to be cleaning it up, I would wear like an N95 mask, some kind of respiratory protection, because that's how you typically get it, is through inhalational methods from the dusting particles from dried stuff.
Dr. Hill, thanks for bringing some great context on a big national story right now. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.